Good morning, citizens of Arana Nation. This is your Commander-in-Chief speaking with co-host, Shotgun Rider, and dear friend, Prince Kevin J. Johnston of FreedomReport.ca. How are you doing, Prince Kevin? How are you? His mic is muted. Mr. Engineer, unmute
it's actually on. I'm just messing with your head. How you doing?
Okay. I thought the engineer had your. I was doing a Bill O'Reilly on you. I'm sorry about
Regrettably, today I'm the engineer. The producer ain't here today. It's just me and you. There you go.
Okay, there you go. Kevin, you're looking good from Alberta.
I'm back in Toronto now.
No, I know you're back in Toronto. Yeah. I'm saying you look good from your vacation, which you look like you needed.
I did need it, and it was a great time. And Mike, I'm going back. I'm going back ASAP. That's for sure.
But and just so
go ahead.
I was just going to say, and just so everybody knows, Kevin again has two great books out. Masks Are Bullshit. Masks Are Bullshit. Yes, get that on kevinjjohnston.ca. He's also got Lacrosse is Dead. Also get on kevinjjohnston.ca, the funniest book I've ever read in a very long time. I even say that in the cover, and Kevin was so happy, was so good enough to put my quote there. But Kevin, I want to talk to you about some stuff. You're an 80s guy.
I am, and we're going to talk about this. And I got a comment here saying that I misspelled Hollywood in the initial slide I put up, which it said Holywood. And I caught the mistake, but fortunately I'm a Photoshop wizard. So thank you for that. We've got Hollywood on.
Yeah, well, you know what? Who cares? At least spell check that. Oh, you know what? People misspell words. Get over it! But anyway. So Kevin, I don't know. Have you watched The Crown on Netflix at all or no?
I would never waste my time with something as foolish as that. First off, yes, I am an 80s guy. I absolutely am an 80s guy. And with me being an 80s guy, what I can say here is that she was everywhere.
Yeah, Diana.
Prince Charles.
He about Princess Diana.
The crown was everywhere. You know, I got really friggin' tired of the whole thing. Doing everything everywhere all of the time. It was actually quite ridiculous. Mike, I think is sorry. I hate to do this. You're not going to believe this, but the Amazon guy is here, and that might be my my new printed batch of books. You wing this for a second, I'm going to be right back. How embarrassing.
Oh, no problem. Go get him. Can't he leave it on the porch, though, or no?
No, I'm not in the studio. So
that's okay. No problem.
The door. Right.
Yeah. No problem. Yeah, so, I mean, I'm going to talk with Kevin J. Johnston. We're going to be reviewing The Crown. I've watched it, not because you all know I'm not a big royal person. I don't care about the royals. I don't like them. I think their heads should be chopped off in Trafalgar Square, Westminster Square, Downing Street, wherever. At very least, I don't think they should be monarchs in Canada. We've got so many groups. The natives were here well before. And the first Europeans to be here were the Vikings and the French. The English were dead last. So why the hell is their system there? Get rid of them. They're all pedophiles. Well, I shouldn't say that because I don't want to get sued. At most, they've got a lot of them have friends who are pedophiles. Jeffrey Epstein, Jimmy Savile, a lot of things. But we're not talking about the royal family right now. We're talking about The Crown. And I only watch it because it's drama. And I like to see drama when it comes to these high and mighty people. And the latest season, Kevin, is where they introduce Princess Diana into the whole mix of things.
All right.
And I want to talk to you about this because I think they were too harsh with Prince Charles. And I'm talking as him as a human being, not as a prince. Okay. I'm not a fan of him, but let me just explain why I say this. So it takes two for a relationship to end, okay? And if you watch the season, what they're basically pointing out is that Charles is a cheater. Charles is never there. Charles doesn't take care. I mean, the people who wrote this, Kevin, were not there, okay? Now, I've heard rumors that Diana was manipulative, passively aggressive. She would actually physically assault Charles when he was, doing his prayers and things like that. She didn't want him to, when he wanted to go shooting with his friends or, things like that, she would get mad. And And they never, and I'm not saying I hate her or that she's wrong or he's right, but they weren't there. I wasn't there. Why are they only focusing on the good of her, making her to be this saint, and he's this villain? I mean, Kevin, you know,
Okay.
in the beginning,
I'm answering that question right now. Before the Amazon guy went to the wrong friggin' door. Thank you for that. He's looking for another guy down the hall. They were on the media every single day. The media from day one portrayed Princess Diana as the end all be all saint of saints forever and ever. Amen. There's going to be a saint named Diana. So with the saint named Diana, hold on a second. I got someone else knocking at the door. For the love of Jesus. I'll be right back, Michael.
Okay, no problem. No problem. I'll cover this. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. You're a very popular guy. It's okay. All right. So it's all right. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. So don't worry about it. Yeah, go get him. That face makes me chill. But what I'm basically saying is that this is the thing that I don't like about Hollywood. They're always out to make the man either look stupid or look like a jerk. And that's the thing. I don't know if you heard that, Kevin.
Stop. Yeah. I'm going right back to where I was. Now I'm charged up. I told the guy, knock on the door again. I'm calling the cops. So he's out of here. All right. He's looking for an address, and he thinks that I can answer the question differently the second time he asks it. Unbelievable.
These people are pathetic.
It's ridiculous, man. Like, are you sure this is not suite number 206? Yeah, pretty sure, buddy. Pretty sure. I'm on the first floor. That's upstairs. Split. I'm calling the cops. Done. Okay. Exactly. Now that I'm charged up, let's go back to what I'm saying. Princess Diana, she's wearing this dress on TV when they did the royal wedding live, and I'll never forget it as a kid.
Big long dress.
I was tugging on my mom's dress. My mother wore dresses, and Mom, why is her dress so stupid? I think the veil or the actual back of the dress extended 50 feet back.
I thought it was actually quite nice.
Well, okay, it's interesting, but when you're a kid, that's really stupid, right? That's how you see it.
Not when you're a girl kid, of course.
I suppose.
When you're a guy kid, yes.
I suppose. Okay, let's say this. From that day, it was every day or every week just Princess Diana is the best of the best of the best. She's wonderful. She's a sweetheart. She is a goddess. And then I guess shortly after that, maybe a year or two after she got married, she started doing all kinds of tours across the Middle East and Africa, where they would focus on this one clip where she went like this, and she held the hand of a man that had leprosy. And the media says, oh, look at her. She will touch even those with leprosy. She is a woman of all seasons, a woman for the world. This is what everyone is supposed to be. No, it was just one clip of her doing it one time, and that clip was reused a million times. But people don't pay attention to what the media tricks are. So they kept saying, oh my goodness, she's touching everyone with leprosy. What a goddess. So we have this decade after the royal wedding where she is the goddess of all goddesses. And no one ever considered the fact that, like you said, these are human beings we're talking about, regardless of titles. I despise the titles because they mean nothing to me. But they are still human beings who have insecurities. And you know what else? You know what else the royal family does, everyone? They go pee-pee and they go poo-poo and they go in the middle of the night, and they snore and they sneeze. They do the same things you do. So they're not gods. They're not anything other than people who bestowed a title upon themselves. All right. With Diana and Charles always being in the news, when their relationship got rocky, like you just said, it's all his fault, not hers. It had nothing to do with her. And they also blamed Camilla as well. It's all Camilla's fault because now she's the third wheel in this relationship. Well,
I'll get to that in a moment.
You get to that. So that's my commentary on the 80s and how she was perceived, which means this show that I probably will never watch is now working upon the legend of the woman and not the reality of the woman, because I want to get into her moving on in her next relationship with Dodi Fayed.
Dodi Fayed, yeah. Well, here's the thing, Kevin. I mean, you mentioned Camilla, and the Hollywood writers barely pick up on the notion that, look, Prince Charles's first love, was Camilla. Now, his mistake was marrying someone he really didn't want to marry. But, it's not all his fault. And this is the thing I don't like about Hollywood. If the man is not stupid and incompetent, he's a bastard and a jerk. Mm-hmm. These guys, and I'll tell you, I watch it because of the entertainment. I don't give a damn about royal family. They should all have their necks chopped off in Trafalgar Square, Downing Street, London Bridge. I don't care. But here's my thing. The thing is that when I watched the reviews, people agreed with what I had to say. And the writers would say, well, this is supposed to be fiction based on true facts, but nobody was there, so how can you know? Well, I have to counter that. You weren't there as well. So you're making Charles out to be the devil with horns and Diana out to be the saint who has been wronged by this older man. Excuse me, she also cheated as well. So the rumors go. And all of this is rumor because nobody was there.
That's right.
She also cheated too and admitted to it. She allegedly would psychologically manipulate him. She is the one who would try to stop him from going hunting and hang out with his friends. I mean, when they'd be out in like Balmoral, which is the royal family's estate in Scotland, she hated it there. She did all this mud and cold and deer and skirts.
My heart bleeds for the billionaire.
She wanted to be in London and all this stuff. She didn't like it. So they were uncompatible. But I just hate the fact that, they are prepared. Netflix is prepared to portray the rumors that Diana was wronged and she is the best and Charles is wicked and not the other way around. And Kevin, I want to ask you, is there a war on men when it comes to Hollywood?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, show's over, everyone. Bye-bye.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Do you notice that like every time like a man is on a movie or on a show, he's either incompetent, he can't do anything right. And even cartoons do this. Those 90s Nickelodeon cartoons were the worst at it. The father is always stupid. The father's always dumb. And if he's not dumb and stupid, he's just mean. He's closed-minded. He's a bigot. And it's like children and teenagers and young people watch this stuff and they treat men that way. So you'll have girls who watch this stuff and they'll have a view on men and how they should treat men. And men or boys will watch this stuff and young men will watch this stuff and feel, well, in order for me to get anywhere as a man, I have to be a complete loser clown or a douchebag.
Then I'm going to stop. Let's stop you there. And I'm going to make some commentary on that. Number one is, yes, Hollywood is teaching girls that they are men, that they need to be the alphas in the relationship. The problem with that is, and ladies, you're going to be offended by this. Too bad. You're not alphas. And that is not because you are bad people. It is because that is 250,000 years of evolution that you're trying to combat in the last 30 years. It's not possible. You see, I argued this once before, that valiancy, the valiant act of rushing into a burning building and pulling out a baby, that is what men do because men are programmed from day freaking one to do that, which is why you've got male soldiers and more male firefighters and more male paramedics and so on, because men they'll do this not even for glory. They'll just do it because, the adrenaline gets going and they do the right thing. We have women who say that it's never men that save anybody, it's women. Well, how many times have you seen a choking baby where the mother is crying in hysterics and doesn't know what to do, and a casual man comes over and just, tap, 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 push, 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 rescues the baby, hands the baby back, tips his hat and walks away. That's the way the genders are. If women were not heightened in their emotional reactions to everything, we as a species would not be here. So there's a reason why women have more overt emotional reactions to things, which does interfere with a lot of logical decision-making and absolutely interferes with their perception on the reality of the life that they live and the relationships that they are in. I mean, how many men out there have gotten angry with your wife or girlfriend and just said, God, could you just not put that blue pair of shoes there because the door will crush them? All right. You know how a woman will perceive that? My husband yells at me every day about shoes. That's how she'll see it. Right. So it's two different stories. Here's the man's side of the story. My wife puts blue shoes, my blue suede shoes, where the door can crush them. I asked her to move them. I was a little upset that day, and then I had a beer and I was fine. Woman, he came home and he threw bricks and he hit the kids and he screamed at me and he hates me. That's the way we see things. Go ahead.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing, Kevin. And it's funny you mentioned how women perceive things and how men perceive things. I mean, and that goes back to even what we're talking about. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's go to what could be happening behind palace walls.
Okay. So let's go to that. But I just want to finish my thought, if I could, please.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
I noticed our numbers dropped a little bit when I said all this. This is not a matter of sexism, because I am the first one. I'm the first one to point out what the flaws of men are, in that we are incapable of comprehending the emotional outbursts because we're not wired for it. We want women to be like guys, except be complete tramps in bed, and not realizing that it's never going to happen that way. And women want a man who's tough and emotional and understands all of their hints, as opposed to their open communication, which we can't do because we're not wired for it. Men and women are wired for two completely different tasks. And if we were not wired that way, the species would never have survived. So now, Michael, you want to talk about the inside of the palace, knowing now what I've said and what you've said about human beings? Go.
What I want to say is, okay, these things can be perceived. We've heard Diana's story. We've heard it all over the place in the books and media and all over this stuff. You wanted to mention Camilla. Okay, here's the thing with Camilla that I want to say.
Actually, let's go. No, we're going to get to her and Dodi Fayed later. I want to hear your thoughts on.
Well, that's what it's intertwined on that. That's what I want to say. So what I want to say is, she's upset that he cheated on her, and so, well, maybe Charles was, and I'm not saying cheating is right, but maybe he was, tired of, every time he wants to, go out with his friends, or every time he wants to, go fishing, or little things that he talks about, and she flies off the handle or falls down the stairs or something, and he gets sick of it. And, he says, well, maybe let me go find this woman who may not be the best looking, may look like a farmer's wife, but, she listens to me. She's compassionate. She's understanding and all this stuff. My thing is that you are right. Women are always given the benefit of the doubt. Men are always perceived. We have to just shut up. We're supposed to be the bigger ones and just take everything. And our point of view is always misconstrued. And it's really quite disappointing. And I take it back to Hollywood. It's because human societies have a perception of men that is really quite unfortunate. And as a result, people, they treat us based on what they see on the television.
Right. Well, there's always the trope of the wife has to go to work or goes on some big business trip to support the family because the man is out of work. And all of a sudden we're perceiving the man in that case as the bum. He panics saying, no, what am I going to do with these children? Not my children, these children. And then you'll see it'll always cut to the guy 2 days later with a 5 o'clock shadow and his collar's open and there's ketchup and everything on his shirt and he doesn't know what to do. And I'm thinking, hold on a second. Now what we're doing here is in Hollywood is that we're showing that men do not love their children, that children are a burden to them. Now, it's not that case. You would be amazed as men how deeply we fall in love with our children the second that we see them. I was in love with both of my children the moment I saw them born. I held them within minutes of them being born. They went straight to my wife first, then they came to me. I cut both of their cords. I bonded with them. I never once said, hey, I got to babysit my kids. Are you kidding me? It's no, I'm staying home with my kids. You guys go to the bar and do whatever you want.
Yeah, there's actually
and the average man thinks like me, not like Hollywood.
Well, there's actually a point in the show where they're debating on whether or not to take Prince William on a tour of Australia with them, and he's a tiny baby. And what the show says is that, well, Prince Charles doesn't want to take them, so he must hate his children. But Diana is demanding and going on about how she wants to take them and she better take them. And if they don't, and if he doesn't come, there's going to be hell to pay. And I'm just thinking to myself, okay, this is a 6-month tour all over this continent of Australia, a big continent. This baby has just now been born, and you're expecting, you guys are the Prince and Princess of Wales. I mean, you signed up for this. Mm-hmm. You're going to take this baby on a politically charged tour all over the place. I mean, and this is just, and Hollywood doesn't think of these things. They don't talk about Charles's side of it. Right. Why can't we take the baby?
Let me tell you, I'll tell you Charles's side of it right now. Okay, right now. When my son was born, 5 months later, the Ottawa Senators made it to the third round of the Stanley Cup Finals, and they were playing in New Jersey. And just as a lark, I got onto Ticketmaster to see if there were tickets available for the game. And it turns out there was about a dozen tickets left. So I just said to the wife, "You want to go to New York City, catch a hockey game?" Yes. Boom. Bought the tickets, went to my mother's place and said, "Can you watch our 6-month-old son? Can you watch your 6-month-old grandson? I'm not taking this infant, this brand new infant, to New York City so I can enjoy a hockey game for a couple of days." Charles, obviously, there would be more of an incentive. I at the time, I was nobody. So no one's coming out to deliberately kidnap my child. But we are talking about the royal family here, and everyone's gears begin to turn on, can we kidnap that child? Can we get a ransom for that child? Can we hurt the child? Can we destabilize the family unit of the royal family? That's what he's thinking. So the baby stays home under royal guard, and the two of them can go do their public appearance. And if you miss your child, which if you're a real human being, you will, you go home early. That's how it works. And I'll tell you this, Michael, as a father of two, when my kids were babies, every time I went out, it's like, I don't want to be here, man. I can go cuddle with my kid. I can go feed my kid. I can go hang out with my kid. But at the
same time, you're a man as well. At the same time, you're a man. You're doing your man business. You're going out. You might be at work. You might be doing things. I mean, that's not sexist, as you said. You're doing your business. And it's like they're on this tour. They're representing the Commonwealth, the Empire, whatever you want to call it, the New World Order, whatever. And you're going to bring this little baby in diapers, can't even speak. I mean, but, you know what? Kevin, I got a question for you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Quick question. So you remember when Diana died and the big hysteria that came out? Everybody was upset. They wanted to kill the royal family because they figured, they treated her badly. She was a victim, all this stuff. Okay. These writers said, well, this is based on fact, which is fictional.
Right.
That's why we're writing this. Don't make such a big deal out of it, Prince Charles. Do you think that those Diana bots who were out there in 1997 lining the streets of London, packing Buckingham Palace with flowers and all this stuff, crying and hysterics, and I'm not saying I'm happy with her dead, but if there was a video or a show that came out with her being perceived as the bad one, and all of her alleged wrongdoings being shined on, you think those people would just take it lightly and just be like, oh, well, this is just fiction based on fact? I think they'd start rioting, tearing up the place. You agree with me?
I agree with you. And that's why Hollywood is doing what they're doing, is because this minority of extremist third wave and fourth wave radical feminists out there complain about every single thing that makes a woman look weak or makes a woman look like a woman. Now, how dare you have a woman washing dishes in the background in any scene whatsoever? Now the man's got to have a pink apron on and he's washing dishes. What's going to happen in that scene? He's going to break a dish and she'll complain saying, oh, that was my grandmother's dish, and so on. Yeah. That is how stupid it's becoming. Everything in Hollywood now is a trope, and it's all anti-man. And believe me, ladies who are watching, nobody is innocent when a relationship breaks up. You're the two of you can't work stuff out. Relationships end. It's not one particular person's fault unless that particular individual is deliberately being a snake in the grass. But even then, you still chose to be with that person. You chose not to leave that person. So you can't just say it's one person that's involved with this.
It's never one person when there's a potentially promising relationship like theirs was. Can't just blame Charles for everything.
No, you can't, but they do. And Hollywood will continue to do so. I mean, this show sounds that you're talking about, it's called The Crown, you said, on Netflix?
The Crown, yes.
Okay,
Now, the beginning of the first 3 seasons were pretty okay, but this one is just, they were too harsh on Prince Charles and they were too harsh on Mrs. Thatcher, but go ahead.
All right. Well, with Netflix, because they put that cuties thing on, I will never get them back. What I did.
No, I don't watch it. I didn't watch it on Netflix. I watched it on Aurora, just so you know.
Oh, God, perfect. But with Netflix, I used to have it, and then I decided to move over to Amazon Prime just to try it out for a bit. Prime sucks, by the way. But I'm not wanting to spend time watching movies and TV shows and binge watching stuff. I do pick a series at Christmas time when I'm sitting around with my family, and I'll binge watch a series that we all agree that we want to binge watch, and that's it. So I'm typically good for one series a year now. I just don't have time, nor do I have patience. And when Netflix decided that they wanted to run that movie Cuties, where you've got 11-year-old girls dancing in sexually suggestive positions, and then when they got over 500,000 people drop their subscriptions saying, don't put this thing up there, and they went ahead and did it anyway, and then they were criminally indicted for it in the state of Texas, I'm thinking, you know what? I will never go back to Netflix. So this show you're talking about, I probably wouldn't get to because I have no interest in the royal family. Well, yes. And I have no interest in Diana. I remember all the scandals back then. I was actually happy to not hear about her about 2 years after she was dead. And that's not me saying I'm glad she's dead. I'm just saying I don't want to hear about it anymore. Mm-hmm. And on top of all of that, Mike, I'd rather go to the gym or jump on my bike and go ride bikes with my kids. You know, as a man, I'd rather spend time with my family doing something fun than watching people enact overtly dramatic nonsense based on things that no human being was present for except the current monarch. And that's not monarch, sorry, the current next in line to be monarch, Charles.
Prince of Wales. Yeah.
And I don't care about his relationship. I've never asked you, Michael, what you do in bed or who you're dating or who you prefer. I knew that you were seeing someone for a bit. I never even knew her name. That's not my business. That's your business. Much like with Charles, I don't care what he and Diana were doing. That was their relationship, not mine. And it's incredible how many people out there believe it's their right to know about the inner workings of relationships of people that you know only through reputation and only because.
And it's funny you say that. It's funny you say that because, and I understand the royals, they're, supposed to be public property and whatever. But I remember when she died and the Queen was heavily criticized for not immediately going down to London and comforting her people when this lady that they didn't know died. But she was at Balmoral with the grandchildren of the mother. Their mother got killed in a car crash. The grandma, granddad, and father are there trying to comfort them in private. And these people who don't even know Diana from a hole in the wall are getting all mad and swinging on vines saying, this woman, the Queen, needs to come down to London and speak to us and hug us and kiss us and say everything is going to be all right. It's like these guys think that the private life of these people, it's their property. The only thing that is their property is the Queen's duties as head of state to open parliament and to do all that other stuff, which really I don't think makes sense in the 21st century. But you wanted to talk about Fayed and okay. You mentioned that name. Yeah,
I wanted to bring up Dodi Fayed. Is that Diana disappeared for a little while from the media before her death. She disappeared for a short while. And then we're thinking, all right, we can finally get some real news. Like, Mrs. Smith cuts the grass, like stuff that was important. Because Diana was never important to me.
Or we could be starting to pay attention to Osama bin Laden planning to blow up the World Trade Center in the 90s. Go ahead.
So we could have paid attention. We didn't, though, as a society. We let that one slide. But she's back in the news dating this Dodi Fayed. Now, he was a movie producer and the son of some billionaire, some Egyptian billionaire. So we're talking unlimited resources this guy has. So my thoughts were this. Diana cared nothing about this man at all. They were polar opposites in everything. They came from two completely different cultures. And when you saw the two of them together, the smiles that you would see while the cameras were on were as artificial as I don't know, a $5,000 bill, we'll say, in Ethiopia. Okay, it just there was nothing to it, because when the cameras stopped rolling, or when you would see the two of them together, they never looked happy. There were a number of observers out there that were talking about why it was that Diana would be all dolled up in her tightest bikini with her butt cheeks hanging out, like everybody in America does, and everybody on nude beaches does in Europe. No big deal. She can do this. But why would she be hanging out on Dodi Fayed's boat in the middle of the Thames, where every photographer in the world could get a picture? I'll tell you why. Because she's a woman, just like every other woman out there, and she wants the attention of her former man, showing off, saying, look, I'm with this super rich guy who's got the net worth that you do. It's a jealousy thing. It absolutely
is. And that was portrayed in a positive light, too. Now, can you imagine if, let's say, Charles were to have done that? Or
right. Mike, you're right. First off, yes, if Charles did that, it would be considered vulgar, crass, and rude. And this particular type of behavior is one that I absolutely despise, because I've had many girlfriends in the past prior to getting married, and the better part of half of them would pull stunts like this, where they would make sure that I saw them somewhere with their new boyfriend. Why? Good. You met someone new. Good for you. Go live your life. Go be happy. Why do I have to see this? I mean, I never rubbed a new girlfriend in an old girlfriend's face. I mean, typically, after each relationship, took a break. I'd be 3-4 months alone, maybe longer, but not rubbing things in their face, because I don't want the emotional, what's the word? Validation. I don't need validation from an ex-lover or an ex-girlfriend. Life moves on. But she does. She wanted that validation from Charles. It was childish. It's like teenage girl stuff. It's teenage boy stuff. It reminds all of us that the title of royalty means nothing, because there's absolutely no way for a human being to elevate themselves above human behavior when their true self comes out. Done. Go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. You are absolutely right. And, I don't think that, there's going to be another season coming out. I highly doubt that they are going to actually portray that. What you just said. And that's exactly true. She was, and it wasn't the Thames, it was a Mediterranean.
You are correct. I got that wrong. It was.
It's all good. Mediterranean, big ocean, blue ocean, seagulls, everything. She was there trying to make the royals upset. I think she was also trying to make another boyfriend she was having. What's his name? Hasnat Khan, some surgeon. She was also trying to make him jealous. I don't know why she always went for these Arab guys, man. I think some people say she did money, and I think it was also because the royals. I don't know if they like Arabs or not, but she wanted to make them angry. It's like, nobody was there. But here's what I think happened. Charles tried to make it work. It didn't end up working. He felt trapped. He was in a family that doesn't believe in divorce. So instead of divorcing her sooner, he goes behind her back to Camilla again because he feels trapped, which is wrong. But she also cheats too with many people. The Welsh guy with the red hair, who people think is Prince Harry's actual father. I can't remember his name. James Hewitt, Hasnat Khan. And then they end up divorcing. She was with her bodyguard as well. And then they divorce, and she goes off with Dodi and gets herself killed in Paris. And by the way, I don't think the royals killed her. I think that the military-industrial complex killed her, because she helped to successfully ban landmines. And that's one of the greatest things Diana ever did, I will say, despite all of the things we're saying right now. But my basic thing is Hollywood needs to give men a fair shake. Stop portraying men out to be just negative. Stop trying to use men to prove some kind of a point or to teach some kind of a lesson, because all it does is it harms the relationship that men have with women and women have with men and with men have with men. It distorts life, and we've seen that starting around the late 80s, early 90s up until now. I mean, things have really, really changed for the worse. And it's men who see themselves on TV, and that's why I try not to watch too much TV anymore. They see themselves and they think this is how I'm supposed to be, and things just go wrong. And then women see men and they say, well, this is how I'm supposed to be, and treat the men, and things just go wrong.
Well, let me tell you now the end result of what we have here.
You have the last word.
Okay, as everybody knows, I'm a huge coffee drinker. I don't drink booze, I don't smoke, I don't do drugs. My vice is coffee. I have discovered that McDonald's coffee is my favorite coffee in Ontario to purchase. So that is what I will line up to do. When before COVID, I would say up to even June, when they were sparsely opening them up, whenever you would see a group of young boys and young girls together, we're talking teenagers, the girls are speaking to the boys like they're dirt, trash, absolutely no respect whatsoever, insulting them, insulting their mothers, insulting their genitalia. Nothing nice to say. Everything is belittling and insults and crassness and vulgarity and vitriol and just salaciousness. It's horrible, man. And the boys, they have no defense to it because they don't have the life experience to comprehend that these girls are doing this for two reasons. Number one, it makes them feel better about themselves because they feel inadequate. And number two, they've been indirectly instructed to do so. What defense do you have when you're 14, 15, 16 and girls are just laying into you? Period. You don't.
Yeah, and if you try to do it back, that you're going to get your ass whooped. You're going to get your balls torn off psychologically.
Yes, absolutely. So let me state that. I'll finish my thought here. Mm-hmm. Young men are being told, educated, taught, instructed to be weak and to show their emotions and to have this big outpour of emotion. So what they're doing is they're dumping emotions that they don't even have. They're pretending to be sensitive to things that they're not sensitive to. And they're listening to phraseology such as, don't do that, you're so immature. Now, girls used to do this to me when I was in school because, like wrapping a car in toilet paper is hilarious. When you're in grade 7, we used to have hot dog day to raise money. So I would take the wiener out of the bun and walk around like it was my schlong and just take a bite. And then the boys are just crying on the floor with laughter until the girls walk in saying, you're so immature. Why are you like this? And the boys just change their behavior immediately. And they go from happy and jolly to miserable. Now imagine that daily about everything, not just me being showing a phallus in grade 7, but everything. Boys are being criticized about their hair, the way they walk, their level of acne, their height, their weight, everything. They are being attacked by girls who have been instructed to attack, not to build each other up, not to pay the compliment to people that you consider friends, not to say something encouraging to those you consider your lovers, boyfriends, girlfriends, wives, and husbands. They're not teaching them this. They're teaching them to go on the offensive. They're teaching boys to not even be on the defensive, to not even set up some kind of wall or block for the incoming barrage of fire. And this is affecting young boys like you wouldn't believe. And I'm going to go one step further here, is that there are a lot of women, especially in Toronto. Oh my God, is it bad here? There are so many women out there. They've bought into the fourth wave feminist tripe that you do not need a man and that you must keep men down. Now we're seeing a lot of single moms raising boys to be wimps, to be feminine. And we're
not only that, they're cursing out their fathers as well, too.
Yes, but it's getting a little bit worse than that. We're seeing a lot of women now who they can't handle men because the genders really have a difficult time talking to each other. They do. And as a result of them not being able to handle men, they're saying, well, forget men. I'm going to get involved with women. They are becoming the fake lesbian, which is the worst type, and they're moving their female boyfriends in to help raise their sons. Now, if you are a young lad under 15 and you've got a mom with a girlfriend and you've got a sister or two and maybe even a female dog in the house, you're swimming in the estrogen ocean. There's no way for you to latch on to anything masculine because they will crush everything masculine around you. And they're going to tell you that you need to be sensitive towards women's feelings and so on, or you'll never get one. And I'm going to tell you the exact opposite. You need to learn how to be a masculine man who will solve every problem that comes up in your personal life as quickly as you can, attack your problems, and be the man that can stand up proud and show the woman that you're with that you'll take a bullet for her and you'll do it without a single hesitation. So she knows that she has a safe man there who will protect her and love her. as opposed to a woman having a man who's very weak and will do everything she says, she'll lose interest in him. And they know it. So what are you trying to achieve by belittling young boys, aside from the destruction of the entire Western culture and Western economy? Because that's the only thing that can happen. Go ahead, Mike.
Right. No, well, yeah, that was pretty much, as I said, you were going to have the last word, and I agree with you. I just think that Hollywood needs to do better. I don't think they will, but I think my advice is to don't believe everything you see on television. I feel that people are going to take what they have seen on this new series, and they're going to start, calling for, Charles shouldn't be king, Camilla should, which, listen, I agree with. I don't think any of them should be around. And it's not because of his relationship with this woman. That's the least of my concern. My concern is that most of the people in the royal family have friends who are pedophiles. They are part of the globalist system. They've got power to do things that nobody has elected them to do. I think at the very least, all I'm asking for is for them to get out of Canada and all other countries except for Britain, and Britain can do what they want with them. But don't believe what you see on TV. And also, men aren't always the bad guys in relationships when they end. The Crown did a poor job. I think the royal family, as much as I despise them or not really care about them, have every right to be upset with this. It is disgraceful. It is disrespectful. Diana is dead. She is not coming back. Rest in peace. She's in heaven. She helped bring down landmines and helped to hurt the military-industrial complex, but she's not a saint. She's not a saint. Right. And she also did things in her life that were unacceptable.
She's a human being, Michael, like the rest of us. She made mistakes, some deliberate, some not. She did some really cool stuff, really good stuff, some deliberate, some not.
She helped educate us with AIDS, which is good.
I'm going to say this. In reference to the royal family, I just despise the idea that somebody can be a monarch or someone can be the ruler of a country based on heredity, based on, let's be rude here, based on whose testicles you come out of. That is the absolute most ridiculous idea in the world. I hate that. I like the idea of being able to elect your leaders, at least have this much say in how your country runs, because there are so many imbeciles in our history, the Russian czars and monarchs in Germany and France and England who just, they showed up because of accident of birth and destroyed everything around them because they didn't have the mental fortitude or the intestinal fortitude to be a leader. Leadership is not easy. There are so few human beings that can do it that you can never just assign it to someone because of who their parents are. So I'm dead set against the monarchs. At the same time, it's none of my business what they do behind closed doors, so long as they're not hurting kids or hurting the innocent. I have zero interest in the relationships of anyone at all, except for my own. And all human beings out there should adopt that particular philosophy that no one else's marriage is your business. Forget about it. Go to work, do your job, go to the gym, spend time with your kids, your wife, your husband, your whomever you're with. That's what you do. Build your life up and forget about everybody else. Just treat people well, and you'll do so if you're happier, and you'll be happier if you focus on you and your immediate family. Done. Mike, I have nothing more to add.
Amen. Kevin, I want to thank you for doing Shotgun again. You are great. You're amazing. And I want to thank all of you guys for watching this amazing converse between Kevin and I. I want to remind you, Kevin has 2 great books out. Masks Are Bullshit. Get that at kevinjjohnston.ca, where you will also find his other book, Lacrosse is Dead. And while you're at that website, for your own sake, donate to Kevin. Donate $1, $2, $3, $4. And you know what? Give the money that folds, not the one that jingles, because Kevin is running for mayor of Calgary. Kevin is a patriot. I've known him for about 2 years, 3 years now. And I really do feel that I would trust him more than most other people who want to run for office. I mean, he's really stomped down. So support, do what you can, buy those books at the very least. They are very good reads. And Kevin, thank you for co-hosting again. And this is, Kevin, you want to say it with me?
This is
the Arana Nation.
and there's the logo to prove it. Listen, everyone, thank you, Michael, for being here. Go to Arana Nation and subscribe. Like, he's on Facebook. He's not. He's on YouTube. He's on Bitchute and Instagram. So go and like, subscribe, and share everything he does, and follow Michael on Instagram at _Arana_Nation. We will see you all very soon. Thanks for having me. Love you all.